Welcome to another edition of the Mav and Call Show.
Howdy, howdy.
How's everybody doing today, Call?
I'm doing good. How about you? I slept
I'm
pretty
all
good,
right.
man.
Right on. Right
Yeah,
on.
it's our morning time right now. We're having coffee and stuff.
Yes, we're having our morning coffee doing strange and unusual. Everybody seems to love this,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
you know.
That's because everybody is strange and unusual.
Probably.
Yep.
So, we're going to begin today with a story that was sent by Miss Carol, Call's mom.
My mama. I love my mama. There goes the static.
From when he was a kid, and about the house they lived in, which was haunted.
Yes.
So I'm going to read this, and then Call's going to tell us what he remembers.
Well, I remember the same thing, just one little difference in it.
As Call's mom, I just wanted to add to our haunted house story. I was cooking dinner one evening and kept hearing Call's cars running back and forth across the floor. His room was above the kitchen. Dinner was ready, so I told his sister to go and get him and tell him to come down and eat. She went halfway up the stairs and yelled for him, and I heard the cars stop for a second or so and then start going back and forth on the floor again. I had to call him to come down again. He still didn't come down. The third time, I called for him myself. All of a sudden, I heard him crying like he was terrified. I ran up the stairs, and he had been laying in the top bunk sleeping. He said he saw a little boy playing with his cars, and I pulled him from the bunk and ran downstairs with him. He was only about 9 or 10 years old, so I tried to play it off like he had a bad dream. But needless to say, he never believed that, and neither did I. That house had a lot of unexplainable activity. Thank you, Miss Carol.
Yes. So I do remember that. But, so if I was sleeping, I wouldn't have been able to see the little boy playing with the cars.
Right.
I was sleeping, and like my sister calling me kind of woke me up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I remember when I opened my eyes, I did see a little boy. It was like kind of like a foggy figure,
Yeah.
but you can see that it was definitely a human being. You know,
Yeah.
I could see everything. I seen like a kind of a side back view of him.
Yeah.
But whenever I like opened my eyes, he started to turn his head, but it like dissipated.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he was definitely, and that's why I didn't answer my sister. I was scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like stuck in fear. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
And I finally, I was crying and everything. I was little. I was probably 10.
Yeah, that's
9 or 10 maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that scared the crap out of me, man. Like, and I'm just like, my cars ain't supposed to be moving. You know? But,
Right. Cars don't move on their own.
They do not. They do not do that.
You know, I mean, we've been to some pretty haunted places,
Yeah.
but it's kind of different when it's your home. This is the place you're supposed to feel safe, at least the safest.
I remember a few things happening. Usually when I was trying to sleep, because like it would wake you up.
Right.
I would feel somebody poke me or like a shove. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
And I look and there's nobody there, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, and then tapping. I would always hear tapping like on my window, my door.
Yeah.
All
It was
kinds of
trying to
stuff.
get your
Footsteps,
attention.
humming, whistling, things
Yeah.
like that. And we had a guitar, and then all of a sudden you would hear one of the strings be plucked.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, nothing could have did that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
there was no like bug that flew into it or anything. You know.
Right.
I did have that happen a couple times actually with guitars. A big beetle or something would be flying around, and it would bing, hit the string.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yep.
but yeah, man, like that house was pretty haunted. I all kinds of stuff happened there.
Well, I mean,
Shadows.
as you said last time, it was terrifying or anything like that.
Yeah.
So thankfully, it was just, I think, trying to get your attention.
Yeah. I think the little boy wanted to play because I was a little boy too,
Right.
and he was about the age I was,
Right.
so he wanted a friend. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know at that age. I was scared at first, but after a while,
It was normal.
I got used to it and whatever. I know it wasn't gonna hurt me. So whenever I did hear something, I would just be like, "Stop it!" You know, I would say that out loud. I'm like, "Stop it!" So,
Man, now see, I'm sure your mom has some more stories she could.
oh yeah, definitely. Everybody in my family could tell
Yeah.
you. You know, like,
Yeah,
and you know, them are grown adults. They're like
Yeah.
not making this crap up. I could see a kid making stuff up, but no, man, the stuff that happened there is 100% fact. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I remember, I was in a house in Southern Illinois one time, and everybody kept telling me, "Oh, it's haunted, it's haunted, it's haunted," you know. And so I was going through this house, and I had a little EMF meter, you know.
Yeah.
I had everything turned off, and I said, well, I have an EMF meter in the car, so just let me see. And this was years ago, years and years. So I went out and got it. I had them turn off all the lights, the TV, you know what I mean. There was no power really. So as I'm going through the house, and I mean, like in the one bedroom, I think it was the master bedroom, it spiked heavily. It just stayed there.
Right.
Like it didn't fluctuate. It was just redlined all the way as far as it would go. And I didn't hear anything really, but as I went in that room and the meter went off, wherever I went in the house,
Mm-hmm.
so it was like the meter stayed. When I first went through, like through the living room and stuff, the meter just barely registered.
Right.
And then I went through the kitchen and everything. You know, you kind of get a baseline.
Right.
But
right.
then when I went in that room, that master bedroom, it just pegged, and then it's like it followed me around the
that's
house
probably
wherever I went.
That's probably where whatever happened, you know?
Yeah. So, because the first reading I got, there was nothing. You know, it was totally clean, pretty much.
Right.
But when it went redline, it just stayed redline for the rest of the time I was going through that house. So wherever I went, I'm assuming it went
It's
too.
following you
Yeah.
around. What are you doing in my house?
Yeah.
Is there a history of it, the house that you know about? Like what happened there?
I don't know. No one really ever went into detail about why the house, because they didn't know. They just knew they had moved in.
Right, and this
They
stuff
were,
happened.
yeah, they were friends of mine and whatever, and they moved in, and they're like, "Dude, I'm telling you, there's something here."
See, I like to, if I go to a haunted place, I like to, if something does happen while I'm there,
Yeah.
I like to get a history of the house.
Well, this
you know?
was so many years ago.
Like
That,
the house I lived in that was haunted, the house we were just talking about. But I do know the history of the house. A little boy and his mom died in there,
Right.
of cancer and something else, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, they just, I guess it was like not their time to fully pass, so they just kind of stayed, lingered until
Yeah.
it was their time to go. You know,
It's just, but this was so many years ago. This was like not as the internet as it is today.
right.
So you couldn't just look
Right.
something up or whatever. And
You probably find it in an old newspaper article
Yeah,
in an old library or something.
yeah, they never knew because they just started renting that house,
Right.
which would explain why it's up for rent.
You know, houses that are commonly people move out because of hauntings and stuff.
Yeah.
Them are the cheaper houses.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna go for those houses, man. I don't care living in a haunted house. I don't mind that at all. Just
I
as
guess-
long as it's not malicious, you know what I mean?
I guess that depends on the haunting.
Yeah.
You know, that's, I mean, you go, like I said, we've gone to so many places, and you know what I'm talking about here. Sometimes you don't feel anything, and other times you just step across the threshold,
And
and your
just
whole
automatically,
body, your whole body
hairs will
tells you
stand up, and
do not,
or you'll feel
this is
real
bad.
cold and it's hot outside. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's
Or
like,
if it's cold outside, it'll be even colder right there.
yeah, and you know, so I mean, listen to your instincts when you're doing stuff, because
If your stomach drops like you feel like you're on a roller coaster,
yeah, don't go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have instincts for a reason,
Yep.
and you can always tell if something is
It's bad or good.
Is bad or
Yeah. Yeah, your body will tell you.
And I think a lot of times, and I've been in places where I feel comfortable and at ease,
Hmm.
and something strange or will happen, and you're like, okay, how do I explain this? But you're still at ease, and I don't think at that point it's not malicious, and it's not.
Right.
But something can happen, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh
some of them want help.
yeah,
It's like they finally figured out that they're past.
right.
And
They
so when
don't.
somebody comes along, they're trying to get your attention because they want help
Yeah.
crossing over or something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or solving why they passed, you know?
Oh yeah. I remember doing the school that I did, and there was three of us, and the little boy that we saw, every fiber of my being told me that was not a boy.
Right. Yeah.
Even
like
though
it-
my eyes are telling me one thing,
Right. You just knew.
my
Like it
subconscious knew that was not
right.
a
It was
boy.
like a trick,
Yeah.
to a lure.
Yeah.
What do you call it? A decoy
Yeah.
to try to get you to go in there.
Yeah. All of us, I think, knew that was not a boy.
Right.
Do not go that way. You know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I learned very, very, and this was late 90s, before the internet and all this stuff. I learned very quickly, listen to my instincts.
You're right. You know what I hate? Okay, so like if you're a person like me, they're very drawn to me, spirits and things like that. I have had so many times where I saw a reflection and there was somebody else in the reflection.
Hmm.
I was playing my guitar one day, sitting on my couch and I'm playing, and I got stuck on the melody I was playing. I was making up my own song and I was
Right.
trying to figure something out. So I stopped playing and I look up and then my TV was off and I could see the reflection. And man, there was somebody sitting next to me. And
Right.
and I gasped. I was like, and when I did that, they got up and ran away, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck, man? Like, and then I've had pictures of I had some pictures of my son in the old trailer I lived in. And we had a mirror. It was from the ceiling to the floor and, probably yay wide.
Yeah.
And man, I took a picture of my son, and in the picture there was these smoky hands on his shoulders, like they were behind him squeezing his shoulders. And in the picture he was like this, like something was grabbing him. And if you look in the mirror, it looked like two people standing in the mirror,
Right.
but they wasn't by my son.
Right.
So like there was three ghosts in that picture.
Huh.
It freaked me out, man. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I took a couple more pictures around the house, and that you could see in the mirrors there were people in the mirrors, and there was nobody else in the house. It was just
Right.
me and my son.
Well,
My
a lot
wife,
of-
my ex-wife, was at work,
A lot of people believe that mirrors
or portals.
can serve as a portal or
Yeah.
a door, especially like I'm not one for superstition or things like that,
No, yeah, I know.
but
Yeah.
mirrors can be pretty creepy.
They really are, man. They really are.
Mirrors can be rough. I've seen, some videos and people, like it's showing their reflection and then like they move, but the reflection does something completely different,
Yep.
So mirrors are creepy.
Yeah, like the reflection will blink even though the person didn't.
Yeah, or like they move away from the mirror and the reflection's still pressed up against the mirror and you're like,
Yep.
what? Or it turns the opposite direction that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what a lot of people say is that mirrors are doorways or portals into other places.
So, in that old house that I grew up in, my mom had a big mirror in her room, and it was square shaped, but they had it tilted to where it was a diamond.
Yeah.
And I was in there one day in her room, and I was sitting on the bed, and I forgot why I was doing. I think I heard something about it, about seeing your true face if you stare into the mirror long enough.
Yeah.
So I dimmed the lights, and I was looking in the mirror, and I made it to where I can see only my head at the bottom of the mirror.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I stared without blinking for a long time. And when you stare, everything starts to go dark around you.
Yeah.
So like that was happening, and then I saw my face change, and it looked like a skull.
Hmm.
I was like, I got creeped out, man, and I got out of that room, man. I was like, nope, not today, not today.
Yeah, mirrors serve. I don't know, man. As you can
They're
tell,
weird to me, man.
I mean, if you guys could see the rest of the room, there's not one mirror in this room.
Nope.
I don't. It's not that I'm afraid or anything like. I just don't like mirrors that much.
Right.
You know. Well, that and I'm really not that pretty to look at, Call. But I mean, the girls that live here in the house, they have a mirror. You know, there's a mirror in the bathroom, of course, and we have one downstairs in our dining room. But I
Yeah.
believe that's the only two mirrors in the house.
Bathroom.
Yeah. Well, just the bathroom and the little one in the dining room hanging on the wall. That's it. That's all we have.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they're trippy, man. They are
Yeah.
trippy.
Yeah. So I do believe that as humans we have a soul.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think what our soul is the electricity inside of our body.
Well,
I
like
think that's our consciousness. When you pass, the electricity leaves your body.
I've heard doctors in operating rooms when people pass away and things like that. I've heard doctors talk about how they see something.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
And sometimes the lights will flicker when the person
And-
passes.
Or sometimes the person can actually, you know, they talk about, oh, you know, I died on the operating table,
Yeah.
and they can look down and tell you everything,
Mhm.
everything
Yeah.
that
Yep.
went on in that room,
Yep.
everything that was said, what they're wearing, down to the watch on their wrists.
Speaking of watches, so a long time ago, before big technology came around, when somebody would pass, the coroner would come, and they had. I might have mentioned this in another podcast. I'm not sure if we saved that one or not. But back in the day, people had pocket watches and
Mhm.
on a chain. You know, they kept it in their vest or whatever.
Yep.
When somebody would pass, the coroner would come, and they would check the watch, because whenever you pass, the electricity passes through that watch and stops it. It like kills the battery
Yeah.
or whatever, however they had it. And that's how they would tell the time of death. They would look at the person's watch and be like, well, the first person passed at 11:22 exactly. You know,
Yep.
like,
Yep.
that's pretty wild, man.
Yeah. There's so many, I guess you could say, theories out there about paranormal things and ghosts.
Yeah.
You know, but my theory is these. I don't like calling them entities because they were people.
But yeah.
You know.
I think when people say entity, I think more of a
Non-human.
like a demon or an
Yeah.
angel or a god. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's an entity to me. We are just ghosts and spirits and souls.
Yeah, we're energy completely.
Yep.
And but I think a lot of them sometimes don't. Like it happens so fast, like a split second,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they don't even realize what happened.
Nope. Last November, I passed away. Right in mid sentence, I was at a buddy's house and I just dropped. And he was a certified paramedic, and so he did, you know,
CPR.
he was pumping my chest and everything. He brought me back. Ambulance came. They worked on me for 10 minutes in the alley, and I passed 3 more times. And I went to the hospital. I was in the hospital for a good week or so or whatever, but I don't remember anything about being gone, but I do remember that when I came back, when my buddy brought me back, I saw a man standing in the doorway of his garage, and when I stood up, and when I looked back up, he was gone.
Right.
He was dressed like how they would describe somebody in the Bible to be dressed, how they wore the robes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he would, and he had a beard. I remember him. I totally remember him. And he just looked at me, and I looked away to stand up, and when I looked back, he was just gone. That spooked me out, man. I was like, so I'm thinking, like, did he bring me back? You know, like, did I get another chance or something? Like,
Right.
I mean, obviously I did get another chance. Here I am, but yeah, man, I passed away last November, and it was from a respiratory failure. I've been breathing in black mold at the other place I was living and smoking cigarettes for 30 something years, you know.
Right.
so I don't have the best lungs and heart. But yeah, man, yeah, that was pretty wild. I saw that dude standing there. I was like,
Yeah.
who's that? And I remember asking, I remember asking him too. I was like, who was that guy? He was like, what guy? Oh, and when I came back, and I can't sit straight up. It just ain't in me to do that. I was laying flat and I just sat straight up and I was like, I gotta pee. So I stood up and I went up, and that was like the longest pee I ever took, man.
Right.
But
Yeah, it's.
that was a wild day, man.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about the same thing about there was somebody in the room with them,
Yeah.
or somebody very near to them that
Mm-hmm.
they don't know, they don't recognize.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's just
I don't remember no, like, a lot of people that say they had experience like that, they say that they saw there was a tunnel, and as they're walking through, they saw people from their life.
right. Yeah, I've heard people say
I didn't
that.
see any of that. It was more like dreaming. I felt like I was asleep. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then I woke up and didn't remember my dream. That's what it felt like.
Well,
So I mean, that was
maybe you weren't gone long enough.
that could be too. That could very well be. Like my soul didn't. I was like, no, man, it ain't my time. You know. Like,
Right. Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. I think when it's your time, it's your time.
yeah.
You know,
I've been through a lot, man.
that day is written in the stars.
I've been thrown off a bridge.
Yeah.
I've been fell out of a big tree. All kinds of stuff, man. Like,
Yeah,
I'm surprised I'm here, man.
that day is written in the stars for all of us.
Man, you can't get rid of me, man.
No. So, well, I'm glad you're back.
Hey, thanks, man. I'm glad to be here.
You know,
It's a beautiful day today.
it is.
Don't take it for granted.
It is,
you know.
absolutely.
You got
And
somebody
you're
close.
doing-
You got somebody close to you. Make sure you tell him you love him every time you separate and leave. You know,
Yep.
So, I love you, man. Me and him say I love you to each other. We've
Yep.
been friends for 30-something years.
Yeah.
You know, so when we're leaving or saying good night or whatever, love you, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because you never know if you're gonna wake up the next day.
that's it.
So, thank your lucky stars. You know.
Yeah. And plus it's hard to find somebody that you are
Click
friends
with,
with,
you know,
or
yeah.
that you're, I mean, think about it. Humans are weird anyway. We look at another human being and we say, "Hey, we like you. Come live with us."
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Then you look at others and you're like, you know what? Humans are kind of like spirits. When we were talking about getting good and bad vibes,
Yeah.
I've come across a couple people in my life where our eyes connected, and I just automatically knew that this was not a good person.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and every time that I felt that, I was correct. They had some kind of bad charge that
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
mention what they did, but you could just see it in people's eyes. Once your pupils connect, it's like your souls connect, and you could just tell.
You can
know?
always tell somebody who's good or bad.
Yeah.
Always.
And you can tell by their eyes and like their grin or their smile or whatever. You could just tell, man.
Yeah. You always know good, and I think that's that perception thing
Mhm.
that I always talk, like your
It's like a radar.
your
You know, you could just-
subconscious,
yeah, you could
whatever
tell.
you want to call it, it knows,
Mhm.
and all you have to do is listen to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
But
All
you know
right.
what though? You know what? The strange and unusual, that's not all about paranormal. It's not all about ghosts.
no,
I've had some things happen to where it wasn't a ghost. Look, it's so like the old trailer I lived in, we had woods right behind it. And I remember this blue light, there was a couple of them. It was these blue orbs. They were like floating along through the woods, and there was no footsteps. I would have heard sticks breaking and stuff like that because the woods were dense.
right.
And I saw these blue orbs, and I saw them after my little brother had saw them, and him and his buddy seen them once, and he told me about it, and I was like, oh man, you just imagine it, but no,
Right.
I believe him now because I saw them after that. I
Right.
was like, and they were moving real slow, just carrying through, but I don't think they were ghosts though, man. I don't know what it was, but I can't explain it, man. But they were just floating on through the woods, man.
They were minding their own business.
Yeah, man. I was sitting there watching, and they were pretty to look at too, man. It was just like a light baby blue type of ball, like
Yeah.
just-
And
it had like an
unexplained.
aura. It had like an aura around it.
Unexplained.
Yep, unexplained.
Unexplained. This is my cryptid shirt that I
Yeah.
wear for Strange and Unusual. I got a few of these.
Yep.
So, but yeah.
Not me. I got the Mack truck dog. I liked it. I had a dog that was shaped like this, man. It wasn't my favorite dog. I had to put her down. It was sad.
Oh.
But yeah, man. I seen the orbs like that. My little brother seen them one time in the sky. I was having a cookout or some kind of little party at my house.
Yeah.
We were cooking out, had a bonfire or whatever. One of my buddies was like, "Hey, look, it's geese," and it was like real late at night. And I looked up, and you know, geese fly in a V shape, you know. And I looked up, and I'm like, "Them ain't geese, man. They were these like dim gray little
Light.
balls of light
Yeah.
in a V shape." But then I noticed like the stars were disappearing as they were moving through, and they would like because there was something in front of them to
Yeah.
blocking. And then I'm looking deeper in between the lights, and I see this like pitch black shape. It was a V shaped type of aircraft, and it was like skyscraper level.
Mm-hmm.
That's how low it was, and it was just traveling right along. And my aunt was at the house too, and I was screaming her. She was only like 30, 40 feet away. I was screaming her name because she couldn't hear me when I just yelled her name.
Yeah.
So I started screaming her name, and she could not hear me at all. It was like there was a barrier between us.
Yeah.
And then whenever the thing passed over, I yelled her name again, and she was like, "What's up?" You know, and I was like, "You didn't see that thing?" And she was like, "Oh," she didn't look up or nothing. She didn't see it. But yeah, man, it was like we was in our own little bubble, and she couldn't.
Cool.
Nobody could hear us screaming or anything.
See that's.
I was like, "Them ain't geese, man. That's a ship, dude."
I've heard stories like that.
Yeah,
Same
it was pretty
identical
wild.
craft, same identical everything. You know, where people can see through the craft, but the stars themselves that are above it,
Yeah, they was
disappear.
being blocked out. You know.
Yeah, they just disappear.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not all about ghosts. There's some.
Oh yeah, it's about.
There's some pretty unexplainable
Yeah.
stuff out there, man.
Oh yeah, we live in a very strange world.
Yeah,
and we don't
dude.
know it all. We think we do. We
I
like.
think our world has different dimensions that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think quantum physics is right on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes that barrier that separates us kind of thins, and
Yeah, that's when we get a glimpse of each other.
yeah, things
you know?
can move in and out of that. You know. Yeah, I've heard all kinds of stuff. You know. So, if you guys got any stories, hit us up.
Yeah, definitely. We'd
You
love
know.
to hear them.
Yeah, let us know. We love discussing, you know, the strange and unusual stuff because there's so many different experiences you could have with it. You know, it's not just haunting, like you said.
You know, now I'm thinking about it, maybe the blue orbs I saw, maybe they came from a craft
they could have.
that they, put them down to scout the area or
Yeah,
something.
I've
you know?
heard of people saying that they've seen these
Yeah.
orbs before.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys got any stories you want to share, you're welcome to, and we can read them online.
That'd be great.
And we hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you can get
Notification.
notifications when we put up new videos.
That's right.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So we need all the views and subscribers we can get. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we love you guys watching these. We're glad you guys like them.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll see you guys next time.
See you later.